going to do a couple of bits of voiceovers on certain parts of this video. Alright, so silage prep, well on the way now at this point. We've mower out, we're starting to hose it all down, just get it ready before I go around and grease the actual mower itself. There is a little bit of grass left on the mower. I did have the mower washed up around the end of September last year, and then it come back out around the mid-October to cut a little bit of late grass that kind of got away, and we ended up using that grass then to feed the cows during the winter. So and then it was never washed when we went back in. So it was fairly fine grass. It was quite dry at the time, but it still should have been washed down, and wasn't. But yeah, almost finished washing now. I'm well on in the washing, and we'll get on to getting a little bit of work done on the blades. Alright, so mower is all washed down. Nice tidy job on it. So we're just going to go through and have a little inspection of the knives and see what they're like. Some of these have been torn from new, some of them haven't. But they're all not too bad. You can see a bit of rust on this one here. What we're going to do is we're going to give it a little bit of a run just at the grinder, just to take the rust off it. Take any of those, see the likes of that one there that has hit a stone. We'll just give it a light run at the grinder, and put the edge back on it, and it'll leave it that it'll put a nice clean cut on it. We don't want having to change all the blades when they're not really wore out. So yeah, not too bad. There was one of them here. I just put the big shifting spanner on it, give it a little bit of a bend back up. You can see when I was turning it there, it's just rubbing on the side. It would have hit a stone at some point. It's actually this one here. So just give it a little bit of a twist back up into the position where it should be, and the rest of them are actually okay. So we'll set up the grinder, set up the camera, and get the grinder and give them a little rub before we go around and grease the whole machine. It'll not take very much to get this ready, so we'll keep at it and get it done. It's amazing the way that button has the power to take those wing nuts off. Yeah. It'll be punching above its weight. Right, so we've moved on now to doing a little job on the 6420. So this is a small issue that kind of raised its head last. Trying to think when we noticed it first. It was probably around October, November last year, and more or less all the work was done with the tractor for the year. and was parked in the shed, and we discovered a little puddle of oil underneath it. So, you know, initially you don't pass much remarks if you think maybe could be out of maybe a leaking hose going into a spool valve or something. A little bit of oil comes out of the tractor, not the end of the world. You can have those leaks sometimes from there's a little runoff reservoir that holds any runoff from the spools. Sometimes that fills up and can overflow. You know, it catches the drip as you pull out the hose. So pass no remarks of it, let it run on. We take the tractor out. 6.4 doesn't do a lot of work once all the corn is in. It might go for a load of feed or something like that, but or moving trailer around the yard or a few bits like that. You know, it's not exactly busted with work over the winter, but this leak persisted. We investigated. We copped that the leak was coming from a hose that was underneath the cab. It's a return hose, so we're investigating it. It actually stopped it then. It hasn't leaked since back in February. The tractor's parked all around the place. There's no oil leaking out of it. So we're still going to investigate it, because with silage coming up, the last thing we want is something that's going to hold up the silage. Maybe a simple hose that had to be fixed to have something happen, and next thing you're down, a tractor down for a number of hours, or having to stop silage altogether to get this tractor back on. This is the hose. It's a small return hose, as I say, that when we located it here, there is a joint on it between two sections. There's a section going to the back, section then runs up to the front, and you can twist it at the joint. So you can see here that just pulls it off, and oil is just absolutely was flying out of it at some point. So it was actually quite a simple fix. What we done was the clips that were used on it when tractor was new, those clips they weren't gripping the pipe hard enough onto the connector between the two pipes. So all we done was 2 Jubilee clips on it, tight on each side, tighten them up, no play at all, no movement on the pipe. Super job. So very, very simple. And yeah, job was done. Wheel is now going back on. This CD wheel removal trolley, haven't used it much since I got it. I have it now since back early in the year, but really getting to use it now over the last week or so, and it is some tool. Absolutely love it. I'll tell you what it would do. If you had some work to do on the tractor, where in the past without this I would have been reluctant to take a wheel off, you know, because of the wrestling, struggling to get the wheel back on, lining it up, chipping paint, all that kind of stuff. Now there's none of that. You line it up, you give it a little swivel round, you roll it on. Super. But yeah, this is another job sorted on the tractor. So anyway, moving on now, we'll head on to the next job. Clear there. Alright, so we're making some good progress. 6.4 is done. Just going to continue to give it a bit of a wash down. There's a bit of dust. I'll sponge it and give it a quick maybe hoover out inside, bit of a dust down as well, and that'll be that tractor ready. Mower, it's parked over there, it's on the 6.9, but it is also done and dusted. all greased up. We have a bit of a traffic jam here. We just got these pulled out, as you see them there, and harvester is ready to come out now. We're going to dust it down, blow the water, bit of water around it, get all the dust off it. This was greased before we're in, but I'm gonna, when I get it washed down, I'll just go around it and give it all another quick grease. Just pump a shot of grease into every bearing on it, and it should be more or less good to go. We are actually going to check the ram here for swiveling. Last year was a little bit slow to swivel. Now we took the ram off, sent it and got it checked, came back, everything was okay with it, but there's a plastic ring in here that can wear, and if it is worn, you can end up with a little bit of steel on steel, and the chute doesn't just swivel around the way it should. It can be a little bit on the stiff side, and it is a bit stiff, so we'll see tomorrow. We might stick a sling on it up high, and we'll give it a lift off. There's only a handful of bolts here around. See this ring? If you loosen all those bolts off, take the couple of cables off it just for working the chute on the top, you can take it off quite easily. And those nylon rings are relatively cheap, so we're going to have a look at that tomorrow. So that will be in the next part of the silage preparation video. We're going to be doing that tomorrow. Be a bit of washing in the yard going on and all that kind of stuff. Preparation will continue, and I'll video it as I go along. That's really it on this end of it for today's video. If you haven't already subscribed, don't forget to hit the sub button, leave a like on the video, comment down below, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, if you comment down below or have any questions, I'll try to get back to you in the comment section. Last bit of the video, I maybe do a little bit of a voiceover. I'm going to just stick the drone up. I'm going to show you, we've had 2 foals born in the last month, and I'm just going to show you them. The last one was born last night. Okay, so as I mentioned, 2 foals born in the last month or so, and this is the oldest of the 2 foals. So this is an Irish draft male, and the foal is also Irish draft, so it's an Irish draft foal. It's eligible to be registered as an Irish draft. And yeah, it is a lovely colt foal. Now, this video could actually go down as being a drone training exercise. Flew the drone down because this mare, when you go out in the field with her, she just runs to the far end of it, so you can never really get close to her. So the drone is doing quite a good job here. I'm able to get fairly close to her, and then she takes off again. So this is basically how she goes on. It takes 3 of us to corner her to get her caught, and she's a bit of a pain, but she's a good male, produces good foals, and yeah, she's worth a bit of hassle. But yeah, beautiful Irish draft foal. Irish drafts at the minute, well, all horses at the minute are well on the up. They're worth quite a few quid, which is great to see. They were worth nothing for quite a while, horses, but they're a good price at the moment. So this is the second foal that was born, which was only born just this weekend gone. The mare herself was situated here in a field right beside my house, so it just meant I was able to keep a close eye on her and see if there was anything happening or not, if she was foaling any of the night. So basically every night before I go to bed, out with the flashlight, stick it on, just see where she was in the field. I could see her. I didn't even have to leave the footpath. I could do it just from the footpath of the house. I could check her to see if she was foaling or not. And Saturday night, it was just after midnight, I went out to check her. There she was foaling. So made a call down to Dad, gone to come up, and she had feet out when I seen her. She was down pushing hard. She got up and I put the light on her. By the time he came up, she was back down line again. And when he came up, we caught her. We took her over towards the gate. We just tied her to the gate post, and it just meant we could round behind her. We put grabbed a leg each, small pull, and the foal came right out, which is great. A horse isn't like a cow. If they have any issues or any trouble in foaling, if it's bad, you can lose one of them. You possibly could even lose the 2 of them. So there's always a little bit more pressure when there's a mare foaling than if it was a cow. So yeah, glad to get her out and all okay. She's an Irish draft male, and the foal is out of a Shire stallion. So bit of a crossbreed, but it's a lovely filly foal, and yeah, should make a very nice horse. So be interesting to see with the cross of the Shire how much hair that it will have on its legs when it gets a bit older. But yeah, that'd be interesting just to see. You can see this mare isn't like the other one. She's not running around the field like a lunatic. She's a little protective of the foal, which is natural enough. She doesn't really know what the drone is. But that's how horses really are. They're not afraid of the drone flying around them. They'll kind of stand, look at it, and they probably see it as some kind of a board, and they don't pass much remarks of it as a rule. But anyway, that's it for today's video. More silage videos later in the week, and we'll see you then.